This video is all about the digestive system. By the end, you should be able to answer the essential questions. What is the main function of the digestive system? What are the parts or organs of the digestive system? The specialized tissues and cells that make up the digestive system, as well as other organ systems that interact with the digestive system and how. There is a lot of vocabulary that goes along with this one. The digestive system includes the mouth and taste buds, your epiglottis, your esophagus, peristalsis, your stomach, your small intestine and villi, your liver, gallbladder, pancreas, large intestine, and rectum. The digestive system's main job is to break down food. It also absorbs nutrients into the bloodstreams and gets rid of solid waste. The digestive system can be thought of as one big tube with some supporting organs that go along with that. That big tube does have different shapes and features as it goes along, but pretty much the food goes in one side and the waste comes out the other side. Food passes completely through in about 48 hours, sometimes faster, sometimes slower. The first step is your mouth. When the food is in your mouth, your teeth chew it into small pieces, and your tongue mixes your food with saliva that helps to break down the food. Your saliva is produced by salivary glands, and it actually starts a chemical process of digestion, while your mouth does mechanical digestion. In your mouth, you also have special taste buds. These are cells on the tongue and the mouth that allow you to taste different things. You have between 2,000 and 8,000 taste buds. You actually lose them as you age, so younger people have a stronger taste than older people. Each bud has between 50 and 150 taste cells. They're replaced every 10 days, so if you happen to burn them off because you ate something really spicy or really sour, then they will be replaced every 10 days. Your food has to be dissolved into the saliva in order for you to taste it. The bottom part of the taste cell connects with a sensory neuron that sends that information to the brain. And it is a myth that different parts of the tongue can only detect certain tastes, like sweet, salty, bitter, or sour. Actually, most of your taste buds will be able to pick up any of those flavors in your food. Your epiglottis is a small flap of tissue that blocks off the passageway to the lungs when you swallow. We don't want any food to get down into your lungs, and we don't want air to go down into your stomach. So every single time that you swallow, your epiglottis will close over the opening to your trachea, which is your windpipe that goes down into the lungs, and any food or water that you swallow will actually go down your esophagus that leads to your stomach. The second step is your esophagus. That's just a muscular tube that pushes food from the mouth to the stomach. It also makes mucus, which will kind of coat your food and make it easier to swallow. The food should only go one way. You actually have a little valve in your stomach that keeps your stomach closed. But if that valve gets opened up by any reason, then some stomach acid could come up into your esophagus, and that's what heartburn is called. It's not really in your heart, but it's kind of in the area of your heart, and that's why we call it heartburn. It's just acid coming back up into the esophagus from your stomach. Peristalsis is the name for the contractions that move and push the food through your digestive system. This is involuntary contractions caused by smooth muscle tissue, so you're not aware that it's happening, but it is happening. If you've ever accidentally swallowed something that's a little bit too big or really sharp and pokey, like a chip or an ice cube, you can feel it moving down your esophagus until it kind of stops feeling it and it gets into your stomach. But what's actually helping it move is this peristalsis contractions that squish, squish, squish the food down. Peristalsis also works in your stomach, and there is a link to this that you can click on your checklist so you can actually see this in action. All right, we're down in your stomach. Your stomach is a muscular sac, but it's a little bit more complicated than just like a bag. There's actually 3 different layers of tissue at different angles. So one angle, when that sac squishes together, it will squish it one way, and then another angle another way, and then the third angle the opposite way. So it's kind of like 3 different angles or axes that can squish your food up. And that's mechanical digestion. when that squishing happens, but there's also a lot of stuff going on chemically in your stomach, including enzymes and stomach acid that will help to dissolve your food and to kill any bacteria that's in it. Food can stay in your stomach for between 2 to 5 hours until it goes down through the next valve or sphincter into your small intestine. So step 4 is your small intestine. In your small intestine, basically this is what we would call your guts. It is a wrapped up, slender tube that completes all of the digestion, and its main job is to absorb nutrients from your food into your bloodstream. It's really, really long, so that as all of that food is moving through it, as that peristalsis is slowly moving that food through, it is absorbing as much nutrients and water as possible. It's about 23 feet long in an adult and about an inch in diameter. It is smaller in diameter than your large intestine, but much longer, but it gets its name from its small diameter. It's lined with special tissues called villi. Villi are little finger-like projections in your small intestine that increase the surface area so that it can absorb as much nutrients as possible. So these are all these little cells that come up, and each villus has many, many cells in it. And then underneath those cells is a whole bunch of capillaries that can absorb all of the nutrients in your bloodstream. And if you or someone you know, has celiac disease, which means you cannot have gluten, gluten will actually destroy these villi and cause them not to absorb as much nutrients, which is why it's really, really important that people who have celiacs or are gluten intolerant do not have any gluten, because it will really mess up their whole digestive system. All right, on to our liver and gallbladder. These are kind of two accessory organs that are not part of that tube, but that make things that go into the tube. So the first one is the liver. The liver produces bile, which breaks down fats. It can also be called gall. The liver's other job is that it gets out any bad things from your blood, any impurities, medicines that you take, anything like that. It also breaks down dead blood cells and recycles them. Your gallbladder actually stores that bile or that gall until you need it, and then it will actually go through the bile duct and put that bile right into your small intestine so it can help break down fat. These are big arteries and big veins that will carry the blood into and out of your liver so that it can break down any yucky stuff in your blood and get rid of it. Another accessory organ is your pancreas. So your food does not go through your pancreas, but your pancreas is attached to your digestive system. And its job is that it produces a digestive enzyme that can break apart your food, but it also makes insulin. And insulin is essential to absorb sugars into your cells from your blood, specifically glucose. So if your pancreas stops producing insulin or it doesn't make it as well, that's what diabetes is. And diabetes, there can be two kinds of diabetes. One is an immune system attack on your pancreas, which basically breaks it down. This can happen at any stage in your life, but usually it happens in childhood, where their body just stops making insulin, and they will need to take artificial insulin, either through syringes where they give themselves injections or some kind of an insulin pump. They also have to make sure to check their blood sugars all the time to make sure that they're going to be healthy and safe. And then there's type 2 diabetes, which can happen because your body might be getting older or your diet isn't as good, and it can cause your pancreas to not be as reliable at producing insulin. A lot of times with that kind of diabetes, you can control it with diet and exercise, but they still may need injections of insulin as well. So we'll talk more about diabetes when we get into our next section about how we absorb nutrients and how our cells actually work to take in and out things like sugar. All right. After the food has moved through our small intestine and all the nutrients have been absorbed out as much as possible, it moves into our large intestine. Your large intestine's main job is to absorb any extra water and maybe some vitamins and minerals. Most of the nutrients have been absorbed already, but it's basically trying to take out the water and package that waste and so that it's ready to be removed from your body. There's lots of bacteria in your large intestine, and it's actually really good for us. It helps to break down our food even further so that we can get those vitamins and minerals that haven't been absorbed yet. Your large intestine is about 5 feet long, but twice the diameter of your small intestine. And then once it has gone all the way through your large intestine, the waste will sit in your rectum, which will hold that solid waste until you're ready to go to the bathroom. So by now you should be able to answer these questions. What's the main function of the digestive system? What are the parts, the organs, the tissues, and the cells that help to make it work? And what other organ systems interact with the digestive system and how?